Godzilla 2014 is directed by Gareth Edwards and stars Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, Ken Watanabe, and Bryan Cranston. The film tells a story about a monster named Godzilla that has risen again from the ocean to try and stop two Mutos that are trying to wreak havoc and birth their population all across the globe. I remember watching this film back in theaters a long time ago when it first came out. I saw it like 2 times and it was very exciting. I thought it was riveting. The action was great. It was just a fun time. And I watched it a few times. I got the Blu-ray for Christmas. And I've always had fun with this movie. And re-watching it after a few years, I have to say, while I don't think this holds up as much when I first saw it, I still think this is a really good Godzilla film. And my biggest compliment I could give this film is that being a remake of the original 1954 classic, it doesn't feel like it's telling the exact same story. It's taking a few more elements from the Godzilla films and from other Spielberg films like Jaws or Jurassic Park and creating a narrative about containing and controlling nature and how that doesn't work. And while that does sound like it is the exact same themes from Jurassic Park, it applied very well to Godzilla and how they portrayed him here, as he's more of a protective figure in this movie. He helps protect nature, he helps restore balance, and while a lot of destruction is caused by him along the way, it is not as much as what the Mutos are causing, as their entire goal is to repopulate their species all across the globe. And while to them it is natural, to Godzilla and everyone else around the world, this is not good and is going to lead to the balance of nature being off the charts. People are going to die, nature is going to die and all if Godzilla and humanity don't stop these creatures. So while I do think the elements of those crazier Godzilla films where he is a hero figure is definitely prevalent here, it is portrayed a lot more realistically, as there's none of that big tongue-in-cheek dialogue or visuals to make it seem like it is cheesy. Gareth Edwards makes sure the tone is realistic, that these monsters feel like actual animals behaving like what animals would behave like. They felt unique, they felt intimidating. The scale of these monsters is great. All in all, Gareth Edwards did a great job directing this film and having you be immersed into the monster fights and the visuals. How he portrayed the Mutos are intense and scary, and how he portrays Godzilla whenever he's on screen is godlike. His first scene when he starts to wreak havoc on Hawaii and is on his way to fight the first Muto is incredible. Building up the waves and then having a few glimpses here and there walking around is just fantastic. How he was able to build Godzilla up from the beginning to here, especially in that opening scene where we see a few glimpses of his spine and the nuclear bomb dropping on him, is a great little origin story to us get reintroduced to Godzilla once again, giving us the basics of what we already know of him, but then going forward into this new story that portrays Godzilla in a much more different light than we would expect. And I love that. It felt different, it felt unique, and in many ways respects the original, expanding on new themes that Godzilla can represent. Because this is a character that is very versatile in terms of tone, in terms of themes and story. That is the beauty of this character. He's able to represent a lot of things very well, if portrayed very well. And here, Gareth Edwards did a really great job at portraying the monsters and what they mean for the story. It's a shame that he isn't as good with the characters, as while none of them are bad and all the actors are giving good performances, apart from Bryan Cranston, everyone else pales in comparison. Bryan Cranston is obviously the best part of this film. his performance carries the first 40 minutes. His character is the most developed and the one that we get the most emotionally attached to, and is a character that I want to see succeeded the most. And while I understand why we had to then focus on his son, who is the main character throughout this entire film, and he is good. He does have a good arc of his own, trying to get to his family and trying to realize that what his father is saying is true and that he must carry on what he wants and pick up from where he left off, trying to save the people of Earth and be able to finally get to his family once again. I think that's all good. But I really do wish that we would have seen more Bryan Cranston. His performance carried the film, in my opinion. But actors like Ken Watanabe and Elizabeth Olsen are also great. The general in this movie that is in charge of all the military forces and everything that we see is also great. All the performances are really good, and they help carry the rest of the film when the story is a bit basic in characterization and plot. You can see what things are going to lead to, and that creates a bit of a predictability factor. Though how these moments are portrayed on film help me at least get over the predictable elements of the film and had me enjoying the visual spectacle all throughout. Because if one thing that Gareth Edwards is a master of is visual spectacle in a serious tone, and he brought that to the forefront here, and it's really him that carries all of the movie. His direction is fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what he does with his new Jurassic Park movie. All in all, Godzilla 2014 is not a perfect film. There are a few flaws here and there with the story and the characters, but the visual spectacle, the elements of nature, and how it cannot be controlled is very well explored here. How Godzilla and the Mutos are portrayed are fantastic. The action is intense and scary. I love how he's able to get a lot of wide shots of these monsters just going at it and having them be longer takes than the quick cuts that we usually see in other monster or other blockbuster action films. It really gets the sense of scale and movement too of the monsters walking around, because they are big. In that regard, they can be a bit slow in movement. Like, they're not going to just walk 70 or 100 miles per hour or something like that. It's impossible for their size. So how he's able to portray these monsters realistically and have them feel natural was excellent, and it helped me care for the characters a little bit more. Overall, Godzilla 2014 is a great reintroduction to Godzilla and a great introduction to this entire monsterverse that it has built off of, and I cannot wait to see the new Godzilla and Kong film, and I really enjoyed many of the others. I'll be reviewing those soon. Next up, we're going to be looking at Kong Skull Island, and I have a lot to say about that film when I rewatch it. I'm going to give Godzilla 2014 an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.